Throughout history, there have been individuals whose names are etched in golden letters, either through their selfless sacrifices or their unwavering dedication to the principles they believed in. One such remarkable figure, who earned his place in history while still alive, is Fahrettin Pasha, also known as the Lion of Medina. Fahrettin Pasha served on the Syrian-Palestinian front as the deputy commander of the 4th Army in Aleppo, which is now modern-day Syria. He was dispatched to Medina due to the potential uprising led by the Sharif of Mecca, Sharif Hussein bin Ali. Fahrettin Pasha gained fame for his remarkable defense in what would become a significant part of the Arab Revolt. The Arab Revolt was a military uprising of Arab forces against the Ottoman Empire in the Middle Eastern theatre of World War I. It officially began on June 10, 1916 in Mecca, based on the McMahon-Hussein Correspondence, an agreement between the British government and Hussein bin Ali. The aim of the revolt was to establish a unified and independent Arab state, stretching from Aleppo in Syria to Aden in Yemen. In 1517, after the conquest of Egypt from the Mamluks by Yavuz Sultan Selim, the Hijaz was integrated into the Ottoman Empire by divine right. The administration of the Hijaz, which was Mecca Medina, was entrusted to the Sharifs, the title of the ruler of the Sharifate of Mecca and the Sayyids who were descendants of the Prophet. The emirs in this region retained their old privileges, and precautionary measures were taken by stationing soldiers in Jeddah and Medina. The Meccan Sharif was appointed by Berat, which was a decree giving privileges by the Padishah Sultan, and held the equivalent rank of vizier. The people of the Hijaz enjoyed high regard, and as part of the Surah tradition, the Sultan sent them annual gifts, including coins and jewels. Furthermore, the people of the Hijaz were exempt from military service and taxes. In 1908, after the proclamation of the Ottoman constitutional monarchy and the dethronement of Abdul Hamid II the following year, Sharif Hussein Pasha was appointed as the Sharif of Mecca. The same year witnessed the completion of the Hejaz Railway, which strengthened Turkish control over the region and provided rapid response capabilities to reinforce garrisons in Mecca and Medina. The railway was constructed despite constant threats from the Arab raids, particularly from the Harb tribe, who demonstrated their hostility towards the project. It served as the logistical backbone of the Ottoman army in the area. In November 1914, British diplomats initiated contact, leading into the two-year dialogue, which was known as the McMahon-Hussein Correspondence. However, unbeknownst to the Sharif, this was part of a larger plan backed by wealthy English businessmen to establish a Jewish state, while simultaneously dividing Ottoman lands between themselves and the French, thereby disregarding the promises made to Hussein. T. E. Lawrence wrote that the Arabs are even less stable than the Turks, and if handled properly, they would remain in a state of political mosaic, a tissue of small jealous principalities incapable of cohesion. The Sharif had convinced the local desert Bedouins to violently protest against the extension of the Hijaz Railway to Mecca, under the pretense that it would harm the local camel transport industries. However, the Sharif was seeking a basis of cooperation with the Syrian Arabs, with the assistance of Faisal, who was the future king of Syria and the son of the Sharif. He had held meetings with various underground foreign supporter societies such as El Fatat and El Ahad in Damascus, along with T. E. Lawrence. These discussions led to the decision to cooperate with England against the Turks, and the borders of the future Arab state were determined. As per the plan made by the Sharif and the British on March 1st, 1916, a rebellion was about to begin in April and May. Emir Abdullah, the future king of Jordan, the other son of the Sharif, would oppose the Ottoman troops coming from the north and incite the Arab elements in the army to revolt against the Turks. Simultaneously, they would attack the Turks while the 4th Army advanced towards the Channel. Emir Ali, the future king of the Hijaz, would go to Medina and cut the railway with the help of the Arabs in the Hijaz while assisting his brothers in Syria. However, the revolt slightly later than planned. The Ottomans had already formally joined the war on the side of the Entente in October 1914, when Enver Pasha ordered the bombing of the Black Sea ports of the Russian Empire, which was now known as the Black Sea Raid. Jemal Pasha, one of the triumvirate, had heard about the movement in the Hijaz and became concerned. He had been informed earlier about the potential rebellions. Consequently, Jemal Pasha decided to send Fahrettin Pasha, the 12th Corps commander, who was in his entourage, to Medina as a precautionary measure. Thus, on May 23, 1916, Fahrettin Pasha was ordered to go secretly to Medina, temporarily to ensure its defense. By this point, the war was already at its halfway point, with the Ottomans engaged in various campaigns in the Middle Eastern theatre. These campaigns included the Caucasus in October 1914, Mesopotamia in November 1914, Sinai and Palestine in January 1915, and Gallipoli in February 1915. The main task was to take any measures against any rebellion that might occur in the region. The current guardian of Medina, Fakhri Pasha, was a brave, honest, and charitable person who knew the Arabs of Medina well. However, he might have a difficult time taking drastic measures due to his lack of experience. Fakhri Pasha arrived in Medina on May 31, 1916. Assuming command of the troops and requesting immediate reinforcements from the 4th Army. The new reinforcements were added to the existing troops, forming the Hijaz Kuvai Seferia, or the Hijaz Expeditionary Force. As mentioned earlier, Sharif Hussein had been corresponding with the British. The British promised a future Hashemite Caliphate from Aden to Aleppo under the protection of the British. In June 1916, with increasing fears of Ottoman suppression of Arab nationalists, Sharif Hussein initiated a region-wide revolt. Hussein had approximately 50,000 men under arms, but fewer than 10,000 of them had rifles. On June 5, 1916, two of Hussein's sons, Emirs Ali and Faisal, began the revolt in Medina by attacking the Ottoman garrison. However, they were defeated by the Turkish defense led by Fakhri Pasha. The rebels' first attacks were around Medina on the night of June 5th, were unsuccessful due to the Pasha's effective measures. When the rebels attempted to seize strategic positions around Medina after their initial failure, Pasha took immediate actions and defeated them in Bir Ali, El Ilave, and Bidimashi. The rebels also attacked the railway to disrupt the connections between Medina and Syria, destroying sections between Hediye Medina, Ebu Nam Jeddah between June 3rd and June 5th. They also cut 140 telegraph poles connecting Ebu Nam and Buvata to sever communication. On June 10th, the rebellion spread to Jeddah, Mecca, and Taif, and the telegraph wires between these places were cut. The revolt officially began when Hussein ordered his supporters to attack the Ottoman garrison in Mecca by firing a musket shot from his balcony. The Battle of Mecca ensued, involving over a month of intense street-to-street fighting between the outnumbered and better armed Ottoman troops. In Medina, on June 27, 1916, the surroundings were cleared, which was a significant disappointment for Sharif Hussein, who expected an easy capture of the city. This failure against Fahrettin Pasha also caused damage to the propaganda of the Arab revolt. Although the rebels could not capture the city until the end of the war, they were unable to completely destroy the rebels due to operational delays, logistical difficulties, and the lack of strength. Hashemite forces in Mecca were joined by Egyptian troops sent by the British, who provided much-needed artillery support. Finally, on July 9, 1916, Mecca was taken after a 7-day siege, and Jeddah fell to British bombardment on June 16th. Fahrettin Pasha was appointed as the commander of the Hijaz force on July 15, 1916. The Pasha held Medina for 2 years, utilizing any means at his disposal. He first cleared the areas in and around Medina, including the Ashar Strait, creating a security line. He cleared the positions of Bir Darvish, Bir Abbas, and Bir Hera of rebels. On August 29, 1916, a 100-kilometer safety strip was established around Medina. Fahrettin Pasha continuously requested for reinforcements, but the government responded that it could not meet the demands due to ongoing campaigns in other areas. With the Sharif rebellion in 1916, Ottoman forces in the Hejaz found themselves in a difficult position. Initially, plans were made to liberate Mecca, but later it was decided to prioritize the protection of Medina and the railway line throughout the war. Safeguarding the railway line became one of the most crucial objectives of the defense of Hejaz, as it ensured the logistical supply for Ottoman soldiers in the region. The British, together with the rebel Arabs, consistently targeted the railway lines. They employed tactics such as bombardings, dynamite attacks, dismantling rails, and surprise raids in their attempts to disrupt the functioning of the line. As a result, in 1917, tribes started siding with the rebels, and the rebellion expanded beyond the Hejaz and reached Syria. However, despite setbacks and numerous challenges, Medina and the railway line were not lost. The defensive measures in Medina threatened any attempts to retake Mecca and the railway line, causing the rebels to remain in the region throughout 1917, delaying their further northward departure. As the city remained under siege, the shortage of supplies became more and more pronounced, leading to a significant reduction in the daily food rations provided to soldiers. To maintain morale and occupy the minds of the defenders amidst the harsh conditions, the Pasha issued daily orders and organized various competitions. For example, he held writing competitions. Fahrettin Pasha also focused on the reconstruction of Medina. He drilled new water wells and constructed a straight and wide roads from the railway to the Harem-i Sharif, the sacred enclosure in Medina. While Fahrettin Pasha and the defenders of Medina faced the enemy, extreme heat, hunger, and disease, the canal operation ended in disaster. Palestine was on the verge of being lost, and the Ottomans' closest forces were 1,300 kilometers away. The defeat on the Sinai front allowed the Allies to shift their focus to Palestine. On the Syrian front, in January 1917, Jemal Pasha informed Enver Pasha that he would not send additional forces to the Hejaz due to the spreading of the Arab revolt throughout the region. Believing that it was necessary to maintain more forces there, Jemal Pasha assessed the situation and concluded that the timely evacuation of the Hejaz would help save Palestine. He informed Enver Pasha that time was running against them in the Hejaz, and the evacuation was obligatory, even if considered solely from a military perspective. He estimated that at least 90 days would be needed for the evacuation. There was a fear that the Allies would advance all the way to Anatolia. The government, along with Enver Pasha, saw the defense of the Hejaz as a secondary front. In a message sent by Enver Pasha to the 4th Army Command on March 2, 1917, "I am now under the protection of the Prophet, my Supreme Commander. I am busying myself with strengthening the defenses, building roads and squares in Medina. Trouble me not with useless offers." On the 30th of October 1918, the state was defeated and had to sign the Armistice of Mudros. The Pasha refused to hand over his sword even upon receipt of a direct order from the Ottoman Minister of War. The Ottoman government was upset at his behavior, and as Sultan Mehmed VI dismissed him from his post, he refused to do so and kept the flag of the Ottoman Sultan flying in Medina, 72 days after the end of the war. After the Armistice of Mudros, the closest Ottoman unit was 1,300 kilometers away from Medina. "I cannot lower the Turkish flag from Medina with my own hands. If we are to evacuate, send another commander here," he was reported to have said. Although British ships anchored in the Red Sea informed the terms of the armistice, the Pasha did not reply. Moreover, he left Istanbul unanswered by imprisoning Captain Ziya Bey, whom the Porte had sent to convey the armistice of Mudros. He replied to an ultimatum from the British General Wingate on 15 December 1918 with the words, "I am a Mohammedan, I am Osmanlı, I am the son of Baya Bey, I am a soldier." Upon the pressure of the British, the Porte sent a surrender order bearing the signature of the Sultan, this time to Medina with the Minister of Justice Haidar Mullah, but the Pasha did not answer. Fakhri Pasha was determined to resist and defend until the end. However, in 1919, he finally encountered the betrayal of some of his officers next to him, and he was forced to surrender with the urging of these officers. According to the agreement, he had to go to the Hashemite headquarters within 24 hours, but he went to the madrasa near Revza Mutara and said that he would stay there. However, the Pasha was not allowed to stay in Medina. During the defense of Medina, the Pasha received the War Medal. After the surrender, the Arab troops looted the city for 12 days, and overall 4,850 houses, which were locked and put under seal by Fahrettin Pasha, were opened and forcefully looted. With the surrender of the city by Turkish soldiers, a glorious period of 4 centuries had come to the end in Mecca and Medina. It was said that during the defenses, he was able to secure various artifacts dating from the period of the Prophet, secure them and send them to Istanbul for safekeeping, which they remain to this day.